Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Online Creators Association's Monday night stream. Tonight, we're working on the Toka brand guidelines, which is fun and cool, and definitely a very exciting thing that I think a lot of people are going to really be interested in. Not at all a very boring technical activity.
Why do you start things like this?
Because I am a professional.
Okay.
I did actually notice a serious problem with the backdrop of this stream right now, which is that the brand guidelines say we don't use italics, and I use italics on this.
We're growing, we're learning, we're a new organization, okay? It's not going to be perfect the first time around.
Yeah, this is why we need things like brand guidelines so that we can so that we have instructions on how to be consistent. Like I also said that we shouldn't be using different shades of the same color next to each other the way that I did with the 8 p.m. Eastern / 5 p.m. Pacific right there.
Right there.
I'll be redoing this after the stream. We have a guest tonight. We've got Morgan Ray on here, Creators with Confidence on TikTok. They're here to share their experience with developing brand packages and guidelines for content creators. Morgan most recently went viral asking for strangers to roast them, and has gotten over 80 of their followers jobs in tech by promising a free year's subscription to the Spicy site to anyone who applies for a job in tech they don't think they're qualified for and gets it. Here's one of Morgan's videos as an introduction.
No tattoos, but people have always told me that you need to want a tattoo for approximately a year before you actually get it. I've had the same list of tattoos that I want for about 3 years now. I think I'm ready to make one of them a reality. I would like your opinion. However, I'm not going to listen to your opinion because the plan is already set in stone. I want a tattoo that says live, laugh, love unironically. I'm just a basic bitch and it's an accurate reflection of myself. I want a Hyundai logo, but I never want to explain to anybody why it is that Hyundai means so much to me, even though I don't drive one. I would like a blank to-do list right here that I can write on. I would also like a ruler tattooed on my finger just for the sake of crafting. I also want a tattoo of my dead cat, but that's a lot less exciting than the rest of these. What do you think? Give me your full opinion that I'm not going to listen to.
Morgan, welcome to the stream.
I love that that's the video that you chose.
I love the Hyundai logo and refusing to explain it so much.
It's very on brand for me.
If you don't get that Hyundai logo, I might be a little bit sad about it.
That one, fun fact, will actually be a friend tattoo. So another person will be getting that with me. We already know what shop we're going to and everything.
That's beautiful. I love that.
So I don't want you to destroy the mystery for me, but does this have anything to do with your road trip to a Walmart?
Yes, it does.
Beautiful.
This is fine.
This is road trip specifically to a Walmart?
This is fine.
To the biggest Walmart in the world, in Albany, New York.
It's in my hometown?
Yes.
What? Sorry.
Yes, there's...
Okay. I'm sorry. Is this the super Walmart that I have wandered through and run into people from my high school in and been like, I don't know you, like when I go visit my dad for Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
I'm unwell.
Is it the one that has, there's escalators, because it's 2 floors, but there's like a bonus escalator for your cart?
Yeah, you have to like descend into the produce section.
Yes, that's exactly the
one.
Yes, so me and a friend drove I think it was 5 hours to go to the largest Walmart in the world. We made an agreement together 4 years ago that if we failed in our careers, we would go live in the tent section of the Walmart in Albany, New York.
I love that so much.
Yeah, so we got there, and then we realized, it's never too late to sabotage your career.
I'm just gonna go all in. Got it.
Yes.
So everyone, come visit scenic, beautiful Albany, New York, where we have a huge-ass Walmart, and the rough vibe is, what if I just ruined my whole life and camped out in this Walmart?
Morgan does roast me streams sometimes, and my favorite thing that I've said to them in one of those streams is, "You look like the kind of person who'd go on a road trip to a Walmart."
Okay, business time now.
Yeah, so tonight we're working on Toka's brand guidelines, and if you notice that I'm looking over here a lot tonight, is because I just moved the stream window to the side monitor so that I can have the documents on the high resolution monitor. And we are checking out Toka's brand guidelines. So yeah, this is our brand presentation as it exists right now. It looks really well developed until you find out that almost all of this is lorem ipsum.
Just if you look at it from a distance, it's like, wow, they've written so much and thought so deeply.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a fucking flowchart.
That's my favorite part of it.
Beautiful.
Here, let's start with a look at the flowchart.
Where are we starting from the middle?
Because
Is it the most complete with less lorem ipsum than the rest?
Is it because you managed to make use of the purple margin?
No, it's because I want to share that the flowchart is an explanation of. So as an organization, we want to do things, but we also need to be able to make content about the things we're doing, because we need to communicate to content creators, and we also need to promote the organization. And if we were bad at that, that would be a really bad sign for our ability to advocate for content creators. So this is a flowchart that is meant to explain when you have an idea for something Toka can do. First of all, if the project matters, then we want to go ahead with it. But you want to revise the specific project plan unless it meets at least one of these criteria. Is it interesting? Is it actionable? Or is it funny? So for example, the research that Toka has proposed with Arizona State University, we are aiming for interesting and actionable, mainly actionable, because we're trying to build a toolkit that any group of creators could use to examine the platforms that they work in. Whereas our investigation into the TikTok creator marketplace, where we created an account under the name Business Person, advertising the website business.horse. That we went ahead with because it was funny.
You know what's crazy is that I actually used business.horse today, because as we were talking about assembling brand identity and someone in Toka brought up assembling your media kit, I was like, oh, right, I have a bunch of these statistics available to me through the creator marketplace, as I was like, maybe I should put this together. And every time I log into it, I'm like, this was a real thing that I spent money on that actually potentially helped people. But it is still called business.horse.
Reminder, by the way, that Cecelia did spend real money on that. And if you want to help us do other ridiculous things that might actually help people, you can support us at patreon.com/Toka. We really this is our only source of money for the things we do. And we're working on grant applications. We haven't got any grants yet. It's we don't charge dues. This is the only way we ask for money, and we don't ask that people who can't afford it do it. There's the tiers that we have don't grant different levels of access to content. They are just tiers reflective of your income relative to the living wage in your area. So if you're making at least the living wage, we ask for a certain amount. If you're making less than that, we ask for less. If you're making a lot more than that, we ask for more. But yeah, back us on Patreon. It really helps.
Please prevent Cecelia from putting her entire paycheck into doing absolutely stupid nonsense. Like business.horse, a real incorporated business that I filed on my taxes this year. All right. So Toka's brand guidelines.
Yep. All right, so the next page we've got after the title page is color. And this one, there's not a ton to say. We've got, this is the first page because I imagine it's the thing that people are most frequently going to be opening this document to reference this list. But we've got 3, 6, 9, 10, 11 official brand colors. Completely white, nearly black, 3 blues, 3 purples, and 3 reds. The purple is derived from overlaying the blue and the red, but there's instructions here on not using blending modes to accomplish that, because as we learned when we tried to figure out what had happened with the original logo Cecelia gave us, blending modes are a fucking nightmare, and it is impossible to recreate a color by just figuring out what blending modes were involved in the stack.
It was a very long conversation, and then eventually I either woke up or just checked Discord and said, guys, this was a substitute Canva logo that we were always meant to replace. And everyone
Which I
was
appreciate,
like,
because as we'll get to in a little bit, I put too much thought into the logo.
You did, and I love that for us.
Next up is Typeface. And we're going to talk about our Canva account in a little bit, because Morgan gave me the idea to actually make that. And I want to talk about it because it was a really good idea, and other creators should be doing it if you don't have Adobe Creative Suite. But yeah, so our Typeface if you are a Toka administrator making content for Toka and you have Adobe, our Typeface is Hero New. If you don't, it's Open Sans. But there's guidelines here on which font weights we use, how we emphasize text when we're using bold, because we emphasize it using color change, not going to super or extra bold. And that's just spelled out here because I know for sure that if I didn't spell it out here, I would see it in several of our documents in places where there are 2 indistinguishable bolds next to each other.
Or on our background right now with italics that we are not supposed to use.
Yep.
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
And here we have the Toka logo. So I'm going to actually zoom in a little bit. That's not zoom. There we go. So the Toka logo is a depiction of a camera aperture. Horse logo.
Blythe, please stop chanting horse logo in the chat.
It's never going to happen.
Horsehead logo when?
We have had a request for a version of the Toka logo where instead of aperture blades, it's just a bunch of horse heads.
It's not that far off. It's not wildly far off, okay? As it currently exists. And I'm just saying that if it ever happened, it doesn't have to happen, but if it happened, the entire Discord would be very pleased.
So why are there so many horse enthusiasts in Toka? Oh, just don't worry about it. It's fine.
No one worry about it. Please don't ask us.
You can find out more at business.horse.
No, you can't. There is nothing on business.horse.
I feel like I've joined a secret horse girl conversion group.
Yeah.
Maybe just a little.
Oh God. All right.
So we've got we have an animation of the logo that is our icon in places where we can use animated icons. That is an aperture that closes and opens. And you can see the stages of that transition here. I need to go in and substantially edit that file because it is not quite consistent with the current color palette. But it's camera aperture, representing the fact that we work with cameras because we are a TikTok labor organization. It's also a circle, which is a classical symbol for unity. It describes it refers to a mechanism that accomplishes things that no individual part of it could accomplish by working together in an organized way, which is the point of labor organizing. It also, because of the specific style of blade I chose, looks a little bit like the verification check. So those are the things.
I love all of the things. I know I've told you this 100 times. I love all of the things and the sheer amount of thought that you put into it, and then how you end it every time with like, so anyway, that's it. As if it's not like thoughtful and well designed and beautiful. Like, stop it. It's very nice.
You will pry my self-deprecation from my cold, dead fingers.
Yes, same.
I'm gonna need you to stop right there.
Thank you, Kelly. Many people do have eyes.
Oh my god.
In fact, not only people have eyes, horses have eyes.
I don't know why that broke me in particular, but
two if they're lucky.
Yes, we understand. Many people have eyes. We often wish they did not, so we could not be perceived. But unfortunately, we are an app. We are on an app where the whole goal is to be perceived.
All right, and now we're gonna head down to the next section, which is the part that we're probably gonna have to do like the most, or that I want to do the most talking about tonight, because it's the one where I actually have to figure out what gets written here. Brand identity. This is gonna be fun. I have a little section off to the side where I've been writing down brand keywords.
Much
I don't know
brand,
what our brand
so
keywords
identity.
should be.
Done.
What?
We can't just type much brand so identity. That is not allowed to be the brand identity.
Yes, it is.
No.
Of course, gave me the okay.
Also, I do want to add, I love the flowchart, as you know, because you wrote it on a Post-it and like held it up to the camera, and I said I love it, and now it's a real flowchart. But I do want to add that it can't just be one of the 3 ideas for project ideas, because it can't just be funny.
Well, it has to be funny and also a good idea for a project.
Yes.
Like this flowchart is, and I'm going to explain this in the footnote that accompanies it eventually. This flowchart is meant to describe the process of turning a good idea for something we should accomplish into a good idea for something we can accomplish that we will be able to make videos about.
Yes. Okay.
But yeah, so what I've got for the copy for this section so far is, and by the way, my toxic graphic design trait is that I write copy directly into the layout documents. Toka is founded on the tradition of labor organizers who fought to protect themselves and their comrades from exploitation, to make their workplaces safe, and to get workers compensated fairly for their labor. We take our place in the tradition of industrial labor organizing before the NLRB because, as creators without a formal employer in common, we are not permitted to avail ourselves of the protection of American organized labor policy.
Brand.
Yeah, I mean, we've got to move on from there, but basically, like, we... Toka can't be a union. It's illegal because Reagan. So we are much more organizing outside the scope of legal protection than most unions, in a way that is much more consistent with the way that union organizing happened in like the 1920s and 30s. But there's a lot more that goes into what Toka's brand identity is. Like, we need to account for both having a serious list of goals and demands on our website and having a website called business.horse.
To be fair, the public doesn't like, oh wait, no, the public does know. The public used to not know about business.org.
Yeah, it used to be strictly Toka mods because we wanted to hang on to that joke for as long as possible. But eventually there was we realized that scamming was bad enough on the creator marketplace that we needed to communicate to creators that the marketplace does absolutely no vetting. And we figured telling them what they let us make was the best way to communicate that.
So I have a question. Who are you primarily trying to communicate to with your brand? Is it people who would potentially subscribe to the Patreon, or is it people who would like potentially give you funding for money? Like, which is the primary business model that's happening here?
I mean, I think that our primary audience of interest is people we want to represent. Like, we want to get creators on board. We want to get creators to buy into the project. That's like more than anything else, the people we most need to be communicating to are TikTok creators.
Okay. So I think one of the really important things to talk about in the brand identity is like, what does the daily life of somebody who is your target audience is experiencing? Like, what are their problems? And then what is the solution to the problem?
They have so many.
Essentially list off like a before and after of like, okay, here's what their life looks like right now. Here's what we want their life to look like afterwards.
Morgan, I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you.
No, because really this is the thing that's hardest, because we've got quite a bit of stuff because we have been working with Arizona State University and we've been doing things through them. We understand like how to communicate to the academic audiences that we've been communicating with and the potential grant makers. This is a completely different ball. Yeah.
Yeah, those are two very different business models, which is kind of what I'm trying to get at. And they have two different approaches.
Yeah, and I think
and
that,
it's
like,
not. Go ahead.
The people who are most often trying to communicate to the same audience we're trying to communicate to are advertisers. And I think it's difficult to use the advertisers model for how to connect with and communicate with creators, because we are also trying to teach them specifically how to identify exploitation in that model. And that model is extremely exploitative in almost all cases. So like the standard advice of just like really lowball them and make them feel special for being a person who has followers on the internet, so that they will think that they're getting an opportunity that they can't possibly turn down. Not our strat.
So, okay, I have another question that I'm playing devil's advocate here a little bit.
Yeah,
not at all.
So,
no, this is good.
Okay, so you have a lot of wording in your branding that is it is very anti-capitalist, but it leans not just anti-capitalist, but like strongly communist. And that's not bad, and that's not like you know, like I'm not trying to say like, oh, I'm opposed to that or anything like that. But you're going to attract an audience that does not like the idea of business or monetizing to your business that you need to monetize in order to get things done.
No, that's incredibly valid.
Yeah.
I've just from experience, having worked with businesses like this in the past, those tend to be the kind of people that you end up attracting.
Yeah, I think the tension we're trying to navigate is we want the creators who get involved with Toka to be prepared to support Toka doing things that compromise like the most radical imaginable politics. Like, we don't want devoted members of the internet leftism fandom We want people who are actually interested in accomplishing change. And that means people who are prepared to accept the reality that sometimes change entails money.
Yes.
But we also don't want people who are going to balk at the prospect of taking organized action against a corporation to stand up for their professional colleagues, even when they don't necessarily personally stand to gain. Because
Right.
if we ever do have the scale and want to try and organize some kind of like action on TikTok, and I don't want to jump straight to strike because there are so many other things we could do other than a strike that are significantly smaller scale, but like anything that means putting yourself on the line a little bit is going to require people who value that or who can be persuaded to value that.
Yeah. My concern is that the current like phrasing and wording that you're using in your brand is attracting the leftist fandom.
This is a valid concern. Genuinely, this is a valid concern. This is the other thing of like coming from working at unions, like in the actual administrative offices of unions, the divide between people who resented that we addressed emails to large groups of members as hello comrades, when that is like sort of the gender neutral union terminology that you are supposed to use, and the people who were so angry at us with ever collaborating with labels, and because I worked at the musicians union with like the record labels, with distributors, was very stark, and trying to walk that line is going to be the hardest thing that we're going to have to do.
Yeah. Well, here's I guess what my suggestion would be is a lot of things in business are just trial and error, and it may be worth short-term attempting some rephrasing and just seeing if it makes a difference.
I think,
but if that feels super out of alignment, then that's also something that matters too.
I think that perhaps including as much history as is currently included in that first paragraph is maybe, I love it, but it is perhaps a little bit intimidating and perhaps attracting that kind of like, yes, the internet leftist fandom.
Yeah, toning it down a little bit at least.
Yeah.
Understandable and valid. And I don't know that I would have noticed that personally because I hang out with a lot of lefty people.
We don't notice it because when one of our admins this morning Googled the Online Creators Association, and one of like the Google autofill things was radicalization, which like is probably just coming up because like,
no, I went and checked. There are no websites that contain both of those phrases.
Yeah, it's just coming up because Google autofill is like trying to figure out what you're looking for. It's
what you are
there. Yeah.
It's probably because of the language that you're using.
Yeah. And it's when that came up, our reaction in the chat was like, I mean, we could get there. We could really get there.
Yeah. One of the things that is kind of like, it sucks to have to keep in mind in business is like the way that you perceive your brand and the way that everyone else perceives your brand are not the same thing. So it's just something to keep in mind and be careful of. And like I said, it's something that I've seen happen to companies, nonprofits. I shouldn't say companies. I've seen it happen to like anti-capitalist nonprofits that I've worked with before.
And I do just want to put this out there for what it's worth. I did not intend for this to be the first paragraph of this section. It's just the only one I've written.
Yeah.
Well, I want to really quick, since we were kind of in a place where we were discussing, kind of like describing what the before and after of something looks like. Basically the results you're trying to have here, right? So I just want to give you some examples of what this has looked like in the templates that I've written previously. So the way that I've personally formatted brand identity stuff in the past when it comes to like messaging is it starts with what we do, and then why we do it, and then who we do it for. And the who we do it for section is actually super important. That's where you do want to list out things like, how old are these people usually? What is like their income level, their location, stuff like that. Because you kind of, when you're trying to appeal to everybody, you appeal to nobody. And so the more specific you can be about what they're going through and like who exactly they are, the better you're going to be able to like get people on board with what it is that you're trying to do. It's something that to a lot of people feels kind of like skeezy, because it's the kind of thing that you do when you're like running advertisements is you plug in like, okay, here's all this like information about people. And so it feels weird to do. But it is something that's important for like getting your message across, you know?
Yeah, and I think realistically, every part of this is going to feel skeezy.
Yeah.
It's like, there's something that I think just from a certain like, I want to say not ethical framework, but like aesthetics of ethics. There's something kind of gauche about describing the mechanisms by which you hope to accomplish things.
Yeah. It's one of those things where it's like you have to operate for the system that you're in. You know? And ideally people would just get on board with something like this simply based on the principle of it. But people are selfish, whether they think they are or not.
I mean,
and you know, you have to talk to them and about them very, very specifically.
But also, like, I don't think people should get on board with something like this just because of the principle of it. I think we should also have to earn their trust in demonstrating that we're going to take their safety as professionals seriously. Like, there's a whole ass page that I'm probably going to rename eventually, but right now it's just labeled failure. And it's the one I've done the most writing for, because it's talking about the fact that one of our fundamental principles as an organization is that we want to take action. When we plan actions, we want to know what will happen if we fail as much as we know what will happen if we succeed, and not take actions where we're not okay with the failure states. Like, this is why we've turned down everybody who said that they're organizing a TikTok strike so far, because
Thank you for doing that, by the way.
It's just, and like stating this for the record, organizing any kind of collective action that is going to deprive people of income when you don't have a mutual aid fund set up, even if you think that income's not going to be significant for most people, it might be for some, is really fucking irresponsible. And I'm not about it. And it makes me angry every time I see it, because every time I bring it up, people are like, oh, I didn't even think of that part. It's like, why are you striking then?
Who are you striking for if you didn't think of the people who make money here?
Because they thought of the attention. And I was going to bring up that for what we do, we can at least like take a little bit of the mission statement of like the 3 basic things that we're trying to do and make it less mission statement and more brand statement. You know what I mean?
Pull up the mission statement just to.
It's really just like the first portion of each sentence.
mission is to advocate for the professional interests of our membership on the online platforms where they perform and/or publish, to perform and enable ongoing research into the benefit and behavior and history of online platforms, in order to provide our members with up-to-date, well-founded information and contribute to the body of existing social media research, and to aid members in improving the stability of their online content profession, both by offering support networks and guidance and by influencing platforms to improve in meeting creators' professional needs.
You can take these basic actions and just make it less mission statement. It's the only way I can describe that.
Mm-hmm.
Make it more business and less horse.
More business, less horse.
Sorry, I've completely lost the plot for today.
We're doing wonderful as a group. We're just here. We're here to see and witness.
Yeah, so right now I'm just like taking notes on the slide. Next section is style guide. We don't really need to talk about this. This is just like where the apostrophe goes in creators. Online presence, list of places where we have accounts and what those accounts are. Failure. Would you guys like to hear the failure copy?
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Lorem ipsum.
Nope. Actually, this I wrote. If it were lorem ipsum, it would fill all of the space. That's the point. Whenever Toka plans an action of any kind, we consider two things. What happens if this succeeds, and what happens if this fails? We consider both of these things because both of these outcomes are possible. So we need to be okay with what will happen if things don't go exactly the way we'd have preferred. No one has ever successfully organized online content creators for labor representation. As a whole project, what Toka is doing is a long shot. If we succeed, we'll win victories for labor rights of millions of the least protected workers in our economy. We'll win protections for young people whose glamorized relationship to apps are exploited for profit. We'll win rights for gig workers and independent proprietors of all sorts who work within the purview of monolithic corporations. We will win transparency and standards of pay from advertisers and from platforms. If we fail, we intend to fail in a way that serves as a set of lessons for the next people who try. We intend to fail in a way that does not promote despair. We intend to document our work carefully and communicate clearly with activists who come after us. And we intend to teach our members how to look for or create opportunities to fight for fair treatment in the future, rather than feel as though the end of Toka is the end of labor representation efforts in online media. Whenever we pursue any action, we have to look at the possibility of failure and evaluate the tactical position that failure will land us in. We have to plan our actions so that whenever we fail, our movement is intact. This is not pessimism, nihilism, or defeatism. This is organizing within the knowledge that, and I think I got a message at that point.
Yeah.
With the knowledge that lorem ipsum will see us through. Sincerely, business horse. No, that's good.
I'm going to play devil's advocate again.
Yeah.
A little bit. You use very academic language for an audience that is probably just like the average person.
So I think that the language we're using here, there's an important distinction, but I think we need to make about who the audience is, because like the audience for Toka Communications, which this document intends to shape, is a fairly broad coalition. The audience that this document is meant to be read by is Toka organizers. Okay. Like this is meant to be an internal document to communicate our brand identity and style guide to Toka administrators generally, anybody who's making communications materials for Toka. So I do think that there is an extent to which it is reasonable. It is reasonable for the reading level to be a little higher than
The audio cut out.
I think there's an extent to which it's reasonable for the reading level to be a little higher
There we
than.
go. I think I can hear you again. There we go. It's back.
All right, cool.
Yeah. Well, I guess what I mean is like in general, tone might be something to consider, including in the branding.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but I get that this part is internal.
Yeah.
It was just something that I wanted to point out.
No, it very much does need to be some, and this is also a question of like, it falls in that same flow chart, and it's the same thing that we talk about every time we are like, oh, should we actually post this? Should we actually make content of that? Is like, so what the fuck is the tone? What are we going for with the audience? And like the general.
Well, you need to. Sorry, go ahead.
No, but it's always been, we've been trying to strike the balance between like we are friendly and optimistic and informative, and we are introducing concepts that are extremely difficult for the average person who does not have a background in this to understand in a way that can help them understand. So pointing out the times in which we are going like too academic, thank you. We should be doing that because most of the audience is not going to have context.
Yeah. So that's where like going back to figuring out who your target audience is going to be really important, and like understanding them extremely well.
Yeah. And like that goes in, I think that is a section that needs to go into the style guide. It's talking about like, this is the audience you need to assume is going to read everything you write for public consumption from Toga.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There.
So do you want to go over that part and like identify who the audience is?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So let me give you an example from a brand that I worked with in the past. So this is the kind of stuff that actually should go in like your Patreon bio, for example. So this was from basically a community where it's an online learning, entertainment, and networking platform providing creative advice and project updates from professional artists, online creative courses and videos, and access to a community of professional and aspiring artists. So under the section of connecting with the audience, essentially it should all be in the form of like questions. Mm-hmm. Do you want to learn how to build your creative skills, but find that many successful artists don't want to teach others their secrets? Have you tried learning creative skills online, but the free content is repetitive, lacking, or not informational enough? Do you strongly believe that artists should build each other up as a community rather than view each other as competition? So it's like, do you see, it's just kind of creating this format of like where they are now versus where they want to be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We see you're extremely angry all of the time. Commenting on our videos. Well, it's for good reason, but they are so angry sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Especially before they join. Oh, God. My favorite Toka member pathway is always extremely angry commenter agreeing with us, but like aggressively on multiple videos, joining the Discord, saying one whole thing in the comrade chat, getting like 10 people going like, oh yeah, same thing's happening to me, and suddenly just finally being able to like, oh, I can chill out. Mm-hmm. This is everybody.
Yeah.
My favorite thing.
Yeah.
Are you confused every second of every goddamn day?
It never gets any better. Rug pull, let's go.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. This is the feeling that people are often coming in with. This is a correct question to ask.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
About you personally.
So the question should end up leading into what the better alternative is. And so start with, are you frustrated with what TikTok is doing, and simultaneously would benefit from like knowing you're not alone, basically.
Yeah.
And like, not to like completely derail from this, but Am I a Favorite Princess in chat says it really does feel personal sometimes. And like, it is always personal, but the amount of personal, it's not the same, because it's not always I am, or this is personally directed towards you, but it absolutely personally affects you.
Yeah.
And especially with like half of the concerns that people have that we hear a lot too, especially with regards to their interesting moderation practices, we'll just say, is that it's this weird, like, hyper parasocial relationship with a robot.
Yeah.
And it sucks.
It is like, it is absolutely that stupid sound that's going around of like, not all parasocial relationships have to be healthy. This is my worst enemy.
I heard that.
Yeah,
I don't know that one.
It's going, it'll pop up eventually, but like who said all parasocial relationships have to be positive? This is my worst enemy, and it's always.
I do know that one.
Yeah,
okay.
and
all right, I've seen that one.
But this is truly the relationship that so many people have with TikTok itself. They have a fully parasocial relationship with some man who does not exist in an office, monitoring their account specifically and flagging everything that they do. And it's so.
And like, even if you acknowledge the fact that a report somewhere along the line was submitted by a human, but you will never know who that person is, so you have no.
I just want you all to see the proof of concept. Life just sent me in a DM.
I thought you sat here and just did that while we were having this conversation. I was going to be very upset with you.
I forgot the name of the app, but that looks like that surreal art app that we were like addicted to for a hot minute there.
Wombo.
Like the surreal Wombo, yeah, that surreal one that you put a picture in and
I'll be right back.
You put words in and it puts it. Anyway.
Remember.
Am I a Favorite Princess says that they spent so much time on that, the Wombo too. Okay.
Beautiful.
You can't. I'm not saying you can't.
This is a real goddamn question. This is a real question.
No, seriously.
I mean, I think we can come back through.
No, that's perfect.
That's perfect.
That should be in your Patreon bio. I'm not kidding.
Do you think you're perhaps worth more than 2 cents? I am going to say that we cannot keep the symptoms of depression or anxiety in there, because we have said so many times that we are not capable of being a mental health support group, and I can't go through that again.
Yeah.
Can't go through that again.
I want to be clear that I didn't say 2 cents. I said 0.2 cents.
You're right. You did. I was reading that with like a dollar sign in front of the zero. It's 0.2 cents. You're right. Are you worth more than 0.2 cents as a person?
Okay. Am I a Fairy Princess clarified? No, I never used Wombo. I meant I spent a lot of time making the proof of concept, and that I am worth at least 3 cents.
You are, bud.
What would What would
I
a
hope you
fifth of a
meant per
cent-
1,000.
Oh.
Sorry.
Yeah. What would a fifth of a cent look like if you actually wrote it out? That would be a lot of zeros.
No, it'd be
That looks much more impactful to me than saying a fifth of a cent.
I also I don't know if I'm maybe going like too far out there or whatever, but I don't think we should use fifth.
Yeah, I think that just looks like a higher number.
That's like, oh God, I'm so sorry. I am ADHD off the rails for just 2 seconds. It's like the whole when A&W introduced the 1/3 pound burger, but everybody thought that the 1/4 pounder was more.
Oh,
So it didn't go
no.
over well.
I can't play the same. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
As someone who went to school for musical theater for a little while and is a musician, my brain deals with fractions so well that I forget that people do not compute fractions all of the time. Like they look at them and they're like, "That's a mystery," and I don't understand what that means.
Yeah.
Third of a pound is bigger than half a pound, but they want the half.
Or third
Or
of a pound is smaller than a half, but bigger than a quarter. Okay.
1/4
we're
pound.
done.
But the 1/4 pound makes sense. I'm tired.
that's why McDonald's calls
Same.
their bigger sandwich a double 1/4 pounder, not a half pounder.
Exactly.
That makes me
Exactly.
absolutely want to die.
I know, right? Like my math dumb brain cannot, but like
It's
somebody
2
actually
quarters.
explained that to me once too, and I was like, I can't.
They want the 2.
They
Why
do.
have 1/2 when you can have 2 quarters?
I think
I mean,
that
it is also
second
like a
one-
more detailed description of what's actually happening there because it is 2 1/4 pound patties.
Technically, yes.
Also, have any of you just like sat in the McDonald's drive-through line working through all of the places they could have put cheese in the name of that to determine why they went with double 1/4 pounder with cheese?
No. Because I have too many
What?
food allergies to eat McDonald's. So
Like, did you want it to be like cheese quarter?
No, like cheese double 1/4 pounder.
Oh, that's other English.
What?
double 1/4 cheese pounder.
There's a I can't do it. I will find the TikTok that explains it, if I can even find that one again. But there is an order of operations to how you describe a thing in the English language, and how much it is does come before what it is.
Yeah, no, I get that, but like
But that's why they did it that way.
cheeseburger is an existing format.
No.
Like,
Can we go back to the questions now?
Okay.
I was trying to reroute
So
it.
it's the Phantom Burger.
There's
but
no
with
there's no like
cheese. Okay.
no there's no graceful rerouting in like the Toka live stream chat. There is never any graceful rerouting. It's just me going, so the plot, guys, do you remember the plot? And then we get there.
it's not always you.
It's
Sometimes you're the
Sometimes the
digression.
plot.
Sometimes I'm the court jester. Sometimes others are the court jester. We all take turns.
Oh my God! I thought you said Worcestershire.
Arget's the court
Nope,
jester.
not engaging with that.
Oh, send help! I'm fine. I am
Burned out.
fine, but okay.
We're burned out. Okay.
So for that second one that says, "Are you frustrated with TikTok's decisions as app developers?" I think that should have a second, expand on that a little bit and say, and wish to have a say in what the fuck happens.
I was gonna say
the best
I
format
would say
that you're
add,
doing
remove, or alter features.
What?
Before, instead of changing things, I would do add, remove, or alter existing features.
I'm not gonna put add features because I don't feel like anybody's particularly mad about features being added. Apart from
10-minute
them.
videos.
To be fair, I already abused that, so I can't criticize it. But literally in my chat today, someone said, no one likes quicks, which are like the stories. People are mad about that.
Yeah, people are not happy with stories. People also don't understand why that like duet button was like. But anyway, no, that's something we can.
So the
We can
story
about.
thing, my impression of it is it's just a regular TikTok, but it goes away after a day.
Yeah,
Yes,
like Instagram.
it's just like
stories.
Snapchat or.
Yeah, that sounds great. Like that sounds like I don't have to use a shitpost account anymore.
Yeah, Lizzo was just kind of like, guys, I'm going to make myself 1,000 extra videos because right now I'm at 950, so I'm going to make 10 more videos, and then I'm just going to sit there and shotgun through all of them on stories. Have fun. They're gone. Except people who don't have the feature can't see the feature.
No, we can. We just get them as regular TikToks in our feed. I've been getting videos from people that are saying, hey, this is a story. TikTok has stories now, and it's just a video in my feed.
I should actually be doing the comment replies that I've been doing for the past like day and a half as stories instead of TikToks that I then just go delete after I know the person sees it. You know? It has a utility. Do I like it? Absolutely not. Because I don't like change. And that's mostly what people are reacting to. Anyway, do we wish TikTok listened to creators before they move or remove or alter features?
So these should be phrased in the format of negative thing and then positive thing. So you put positive thing and then negative thing. You want to flip it. Listing like an emotion rather than a belief is also helpful. So if you say like, are you frustrated? That TikTok removes and alters features. And wish that they would consult creators first. It makes people feel more seen.
We're here to validate your feelings.
Yes, we're here to emotionally validate people.
This has been super helpful, and I do think it would be really helpful to stay on this, but we've got 2 minutes left in the stream, and I do want to just like jump over to the Canva thing real quick.
Okay. Okay. All right, sure.
So this is one of the things that I was talking to Morgan about brand making stuff, and they showed me the Canva accounts that they've set up for other brands. So I started making one of these. It's got title page, instructions on how to do fonts, and also which emoji package we use. The colors again, a bunch of copy and pastable logos as SVGs and as PNGs, and that's everything.
Yay.
Explain why it's useful.
Morgan, help.
Oh, okay. Sorry, my bad. For some reason, I was just like, everyone knows how to use Canva, and why Canva is helpful.
I had never heard about that before, like yesterday. So.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm just like under the impression that everybody is already aware of why Canva matters. Basically, it expedites the creation process of new, media stuff, whether it's flyers, Instagram posts, OBS layouts, whatever. It will basically, it's helpful to have something where anybody who is within Toka can have the login and then go in and create assets much faster. That way you don't need to be like sending files back and forth. Adobe is expensive, so this is much more accessible. You can just like copy and paste stuff much more easily. It's all very simple and like drag and drop and stuff. Yeah, and it just makes the design process much faster for just about everything.
And
so
it's also
yes,
an excellent thing to have as an individual creator, especially if you are reaching out to brands, if you are trying to sort of expand your reach as someone who like makes things on the internet professionally. It is remarkably helpful to have a Canva account, decide on what your brand looks like, and just stick to it there. If you have a paid version of Canva, you can like actually set up like a brand kit, which is like even more helpful and easy, and it gives you access to other stuff. Just know that you can't sell things that you've made on Canva.
I wanted to say something about that actually. Just don't use their assets.
Yeah.
Go to creativemarket.com and just buy a pack of assets that looks like something you would use and pay for a commercial license. It's not very expensive. And you can import all of those assets into Canva and use them. And have, be able to use everything for commercial use.
Yeah, and I wanted to jump over to this before we sign off, just because like this is the reason why I thought it was a good idea to do the Toka branding package as a live stream, is because there's value in talking about like how to put a branding package together as a creator. It's something that anybody who's like seriously trying to make it like part of their profession should do. And Canva is a much more accessible way to get into that than Adobe Illustrator, which I am only good at because I have had formal training in. But yeah, that is everything we've got for you tonight. It is 9 o'clock. So I am going to say goodnight to everybody. Do we have anything we want to say on the way out? Morgan, final plugs?
Like and subscribe to Toka. I'm not going to plug myself.
It's too late. It's too late. I already plugged you in the chat. It's too late.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. Please subscribe to Toka on Patreon.
Thank you all for coming. Have a great night.
Thank you.